Hi everyone, so welcome to another surgery lecture in the series Principle of Surgery. So today we will discuss about emergency and critical care management in animals. Okay, before going to that, let me share some of my experience regarding this critical care and management. You see, in human or in medical service, you will find different types of doctors. Some are specialists, some general doctors, and there comes a casualty doctor or emergency response doctor. Sometimes they are known as the traumatic center doctors. Okay, in my opinion, it is my personal view, I feel that the emergency response doctors or the traumatic care doctors are much more more towards the doctor side, or they are better doctor in a different sense actually from the other doctors. You see, I am not telling that the other doctors are not doing nothing, but thing is about that when a patient comes to ER or the emergency response unit, you will see the height of emotions. Sometimes there will be anger, sometimes there will be sadness, tears. Okay, when they have very high range of emotions, maybe on positive sides or maybe on negative sides. Before dealing the patient, you have to deal with them too. Okay, before going to a specialist, you will be emotionally calm, or may go to the specialist in a calm environment. But in ER, you have to deal with lot of emotions. Okay, especially the trauma of the relatives or the patient owners, many other things. You have to deal with emotions and with your patient. Sometimes there will be lot of pressure, maybe some legal aspects or maybe some other thing, or political pressure, whatever it is. Dealing with the patient under high immense pressure is actually the real doctor. They are actually the real doctor. Okay, I feel like that. But in our veterinary medicine or in veterinary science, we will see there is nothing specialization as the ER doctors, emergency response doctor, or the trauma doctors. A veterinarian is everything. The trauma doctor, the emergency doctor, the specialist, the general surgeon, everything. So we should know some basic stuffs about this emergency and critical care management. Okay, so once upon a time, when I was posted in headquarter of Puri district, so in one fine evening, a patient owner came and the cat was having some breathing problems and the gums were pale. It was an emergency response. So what I did, whatever facilities were available, so I did the intravenous fluid with the dexamethasone and theophylline for bronchodilation. So after 1 to 2 minutes, the corneal reflex started to diminish, and after some time the corneal reflex diminished completely. So what to do? So that was a lot of pressure that time, but I tried my best with CPR, cardio-pulmonary resuscitation. While doing this CPR, after 1 to 2 minutes about, the cat, actually it was a cat, the cat took his fast breath. Okay, then I continued my CPR. Then after some time, the gums and the eye membrane, the eye mucosa started appearing pinkish. That means the blood was starting to flow. After 5 minutes, the patient took his breath, the complete natural breath. Okay. In that moment, the owner came to me and hold my hand and told, "Thank you, sir." This was the realization. That satisfaction is priceless. That makes you satisfied that I am a doctor. If your patient owner feels or treats like a god, then be it. Try to be God. You may not be a god, but try to be his god or her god. Okay. For that, you need your studies. So study well and study thoroughly, because you never know which science or which topic you are going to use in field at what moment. So you should know the right treatment at right time. Okay, so let us start with this emotional note, the emergency and critical care of patient. Before that, please subscribe to the channel. Now, I have divided the emergency care in two parts. The home and transport. You see, emergency response starts from the call. When someone calls you, see, for dog and cat, the transport is easy, but for large animals like the cattle, buffalo, you may have to go to on the spot. So whatever it is a principle. It can be applied to all with some modifications. Okay. So first, home and transport, what the owner can do and this is at a hospital, what you can do or what a doctor can do. First, when you will get a call, there is some emergency, you have to ask some basic questions like what is the level of consciousness, whether the patient is alert or patient is going down, regarding the consciousness. Next, the breathing, whether the patient is regularly breathing or deep shallow respiration or deep respiration or panting, like that you have to ask the breathing pattern. Next, type of injury, what type of injury is there, it is vehicular accident or sometimes of poisoning, what sometimes animal they eat the rat poisons, okay. So, this is type of injury. Then the gum color, the color of the mucosa, whether it is white, pale, pink, cyanotic, etc. You have to ask all this and you have to keep information with yourself. Now, ask the owner to transport the animal to nearest hospital as soon as possible. So, what are the basic things you should remember in yourself so that you can advise the owners? First of all, you should know the head, neck and spine, the motion of head, neck and spine should be minimized. For that, you can arrange towels, okay, for dog and cat. Large animal you may not, for cattle and buffalo you may not follow this one, but for dog and cat where the transportation is easy, you can use a cardboard box and some towels you can put there so that there will be less movement, okay. And another thing for cats specifically, okay, placing them in a dark boxes where there is no light calms them. Okay, it is also applied to dogs also, but this is more particularly important in case of cats. So, if you will put your dog or cat in a dark box, okay, where there is no light, usually it calms them. Okay. Now, there are some points. If there is some bleeding during the type of inquiry about type of injury, if you are finding any bleeding, then tell the owner to apply digital pressure. Okay. So, it may be in a towel or any, try to pursue the owner to use a clean cloth. Okay. Now, for extremities like tails or the limbs, you can use the tourniquet, apply tight bandage or tight towel or any other material, but remember in each 5 to 8 minutes you have to give a relaxation time of 2 minutes. Okay. Otherwise, there will be ischemic necrosis. Due to pressure bandage, the oxygen will not be delivered to their tissues, there will be ischemic necrosis. So, you have to prevent that ischemic necrosis. So, remember each 5 to 8 minutes you have to give a relaxation time for time of 2 minutes. Now, if there is any penetrated foreign body, if there is any penetration of any whether iron rod or any, sometimes in tribal areas you may find the arrows. So, do not disturb that foreign body. If it keeps on moving, then it may injure the nearby organs also. Now, in case of fracture, if there is any fracture, then tell the owner to give any kind of splint. Okay, it may be plastic material, magazine cover or any wooden wood or maybe bamboo splint, whatever he or she can manage, give some splint so that the motion will be reduced. This is very important, cardiopulmonary arrest, because death occurs because of this one, cardiopulmonary arrest. You see, for cardiopulmonary arrest, you should not ask questions like whether the animal's limb is moving, whether the animal is moving, okay, because they are unreliable indicators of cardiopulmonary arrest. Why? You see, when the animal is in deep pain, it usually does not react to external stimulus. Okay. So, if you are telling that whether the animal is moving or when you are touching there is no response, then it is not a good indicator of cardiopulmonary arrest. Instead, what you should ask, that corneal palpebral reflex. You tell your owner to touch the cornea of eye. If the palpebral he or she is closing, then it is okay. If he or she, the animal is not responding to this reflex, it may be going to cardiopulmonary arrest. Also, you can minutely observe the chest movement, okay, the respiration. So, these two are reliable indicators of cardiopulmonary arrest. See, these are all at owner level, okay, not at hospital. In hospital, you have to check by monitor. There will be multi-parameter monitors where you can check. Now, if at all you are finding there is some cardiopulmonary arrest, if there is any cardiopulmonary arrest, then you have to go for CPR, cardiopulmonary resuscitation. Okay, the CPR, remember the CPR you have to give chest compressions. Usually it is possible in dog and cats, but in case of large animals where cattle or buffalo, 2 or 3 persons may be needed for chest compression. You see, when you are getting a case of CPR, okay, try to do something. Don't tell that, oh, this is a very big animal, it cannot be done. Don't do that. Do that. Try to do it. Maybe with help of others or 2 to 3 members, do it. Because you see, owners are very emotional persons. They have great attachment towards their animal. If you are not doing anything, sometimes you have to little bit practical than theoretical. Okay, you know what I am saying. Then chest compression, you remember you have to give 100 to 120 chest compressions in minute, but remember the compression to ventilation ratio, it is usually 30:2. There is also one 15:2, but 30:2 is recommended. What is 30:2? You have to give 30 chest compressions and 2 ventilations. How to give ventilations? Usually you have to blow air in nose of the animal. Okay, 30 compressions and 2 ventilations. This is the ratio you should maintain. Okay, and remember, while giving this ventilation or while giving the compression, especially the compression, you have to pull the tongues out. Pull the tongue out, because it will open up the airway. Sometimes the tongue itself blocks the airway, so you have to pull the tongue out so that you can give better compressions. Okay, so this is what you can do, or you can advise the owner to do. Okay, next comes to the hospital. Okay, now the patient has reached the hospital. What you should do? You see, there are 2 kind of surveys. This is a primary survey, which is also known as triage. There is secondary survey. Okay, primary survey is usually intended towards the patient stabilization. What to check in primary survey? It is usually ABC. Remember, ABC. It is not accelerator brake class. It is airway, breathing and circulation. ABC. The airway, remember, this one is very important. Airway, breathing and the circulation. Okay. Before, how can you check all this? You have to monitor some parameters. First one is MM, that is mucous membrane, the color of mucous membrane. CRT, the capillary refill time. Heart rate, then the pulse rate. You see, pulse rate is not equal to heart rate. It is all the time it is equal to heart rate, but it may not be equal to heart rate. And remember, for pulse rate, by pulse rate you can see the blood pressure status also. By weak pulse or there is strong pulse, you can do something. You can measure the blood pressure in pulse rate if you do not have any specialized equipment. Then RR, the respiration rate, then temperature, pain and consciousness, whether the animal is in deep pain or the conscious. You see, for this there is actually a chart. You have to make a chart. There are, for pain, there are some scoring systems by different scientists also. You can do that also. You make a chart of this one and use that one. You see, after measuring all this, you will know the patient condition too. Now, the airway, what can happen to the airway? It may be, there will be obstruction. There may be obstruction. It may be complete obstruction or incomplete obstruction. The options you can do in case of obstruction is intubation. You have to do intubation. It may be a normal intubation or it may be a tracheostomy. Okay, so for airway you have to intubate. Remember, airway for intubation. Then breathing. For breathing you have to first check whether the animal has some lung disease or pleura diseases. Okay, the pleura is covering up the peritoneal lining, that is pleura. So in case of lungs or pleura diseases, you may find some breathing problems. For that you have to do the oxygen therapy. Okay. I have already clearly discussed regarding the delivery of oxygen or oxygen therapy in my previous videos. I think it was second or third video. The heading was pre-operative preparation of patient. You can check in that regarding the oxygen therapy. Now, the circulation, if you are finding any inadequate circulation, then you can go for the intravenous fluids. I already made a video regarding fluid therapy, A to Z of fluid therapy. You can check in my channel or you can check this playlist. And if there is hypothermia, usually hypothermia is related to circulation. If there is not enough circulation to peripheral region, then you may find the hypothermia. Okay. But hypothermia actually temperature regulation center, but it comes under circulation. For hypothermia, you can go for some warm environment or infrared light treatment. So, for hypothermia management, now this is very important. If there is any concurrent blood loss, if there is some bleeding that is going on, you have to go for surgery. It may be under local anesthetic or general anesthetic. Now, in case of ER management, emergency response management, analgesia is the primary requirement. You have to give analgesics. Analgesics, the first line analgesics is not NSAIDs or SAID, it is always opioids. They are the true analgesics. You see, analgesic can be you can relieve a pain by two methods. You will reduce the inflammation, there won't be pain. Second, you will block the nerve pathway. I already have discussed in some anesthetic protocol videos. There is a series you can watch that, how the painkillers work. So, in that case, opioids are the true painkillers because they block the nerve channels. Okay. So that they will act as a true painkiller. These two are basically anti-inflammatory drugs. Okay, but they are true painkillers. So, opioid, what type of opioid you can give? In case of dogs, you can use dog and cat, you can use fentanyl, morphine. Morphine is a very good painkiller. Next, what is commonly available you may find is buprenorphine, butorphanol. The butorphanol is a short acting analgesic. You see, I am not talking about these doses, you have to make it on your own. So, you have to provide the analgesia. If you are not finding any opioids, then go for NSAID or SAID, steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. Now, there is a term known as neuroleptalgia. This term I will explain when we start the anesthesia class, but remember, in a easier term, it is basically when you make the patient calm plus pain free. So, how to make calm? Add benzodiazepines. Benzodiazepines are excellent drugs. They do not intervene or they do not depress the cardiovascular and respiratory systems. Okay, that is why you could, if you are adding the benzodiazepine along with these opioids, you will find the neuroleptalgia. The patient will be very calm and won't feel much of pain. Okay, so this is all about how you should manage a patient in ER or emergency response. Now, some of the drugs, you see, these are not that standard drugs. Okay, these are list of drugs which you should use. If you are not finding any of this, find the alternative. Now, atropine, the atropine is for bradycardia. Okay, glycopyrrolate is given when you will find bradycardia along with arrhythmia. I will discuss these two drugs and I will discuss the pre-anesthetics in anesthesiology lecture. Calcium gluconate, this is for hypocalcemia. IV fluids, shock or maintenance fluids. Okay, for IV fluids and fluid therapy was the fluid therapy lecture. I will give a link in the description. Dexamethasone, this is also for shock. Diazepam, seizures, if you are finding any convulsions in your patient, then give diazepams. Dobutamine, this is inotropic drug. You see, comment down below what is inotropic drugs and what is chronotropic drugs. Okay, inotropic and chronotropic both act on heart. Okay, inotropic drug. Okay, I will see the comments. Dopamine, these are hypotension. Doxapram, this is a respiratory stimulant. Epinephrine, asystole, when you are finding that the heart has stopped beating, you can give direct epinephrine to heart. Okay, asystole. Lidocaine is for arrhythmia. Mannitol, cerebral edema. Sometimes you will find cases of head injury, okay, trauma. In that case, please prescribe mannitol. This is a very good thing and very good drug. Many of the veterinarians do not prescribe this one, but believe me, this one is a very excellent drug. Okay. Sometimes you will find some vehicular accident cases, okay, where the head will be hit with the vehicle. There will be edema. Give mannitol, it will relax the cerebral edema, cerebral pressure. Naloxone, this is a, you see, in analgesia you are using opiates, this is a reversal agent. Okay. Sodium bicarbonate for acidosis. Okay. So, these are some basic drugs which you should keep handy or which you should know for emergency medicines. Remember, I am not telling you these doses of this one because you have to find it on your own, and also telling doses in these lecture videos sometimes may promote some quackery also. So, I am against quackery. So, you see, there is no shame in referring the doses while writing prescription. There is no shame. I even do when I do not remember a dose. Okay. So, you have to keep it in a handy or in your mobile stored, so that when you will write or prescribe some, you see, in veterinary field you may not find these drugs as a ready-made drugs available in your veterinary dispensary. So, you have to write or prescribe the owners to buy it from outside. So, while writing, please do refer to this chart whether you have what you have prepared. Okay, there is no shame at all. It's okay. So, this is all about the emergency and critical care of patient which you can do at your level. You see, some of the things are not possible till today in some of the veterinary dispensary, but if you have some potential or if you have your desire to do something, then you can do. Okay, you can do. Okay. Suppose you have to do intubation, keep 2 or 3 endotracheal tubes with you. Do not use it as a government property, but keep it with you. It can help you, really help you. Sometimes, you see, this is a very sensitive topic, the emergency and critical care. It establishes the bond between a doctor and his or patient owners. This is where the trust builds. Okay. The emergency care is very important and a very practical problem also in field. You may not find all the facilities, but with that you have to do something. Do not tell so carelessly that it can't be done, facilities not available. Do something, whatever you can do something. Okay. So, this is all about today's class. We will meet in the next class. Next class will be the last class in principles of surgery. Okay. See you, tata, bye, and stay safe.